You ready for the pro tip?
Absolutely. Let's do the pro tip.
And
Guys, this week's pro...
Sorry. Now I get to do it to you. I get to do it to you. Hold on. Wait.
Hold on.
Welcome to the Church Media Guys show, where we show you how to exploit the latest and greatest technology to accomplish your mission, share the gospel, and maximize your ministry. My name is Justin Nava, one of the Church Media Guys, and today I have a special little episode for you. I shouldn't say I should say we, because with us as always, I can't say with me as always, because normally I'm with you. Dave, how are you doing today?
I am good. I am really good. I am traveling this week. It's spring break, so my lovely wife and my two amazing daughters came down to hang out with my folks and my 97-year-old grandmother. So I flew down last night to spend the rest of the week with them. And, I'm having a blast. I got to spend some time just holding my grandma's hand and talking last night. And she said, yes, come over, do your show here. I've got the fastest internet in the family. So come over here and get your show going and all that. So, yeah, I'm having a good week and a great time.
Awesome. Yeah, I do enjoy the new decor. In fact, even Ramon in the chat says, hey, Dave, new decor. And Christopher, who's with us as always, says, wow, Dave, that sure is old. LOL.
Yeah, that's some of that old pewter collectors, plates and stuff like that. There's some cool stuff around this house. Hey guys, this week's pro tip is a little something having to do with podcasting, since we're talking podcasting. It's always hard to find or to know exactly what music to use, right? When we're doing our shows, when we're doing our recordings, when we're doing our promo videos and the various videos that we do at our church. How do you know what you can use and when you can use it, and where can you find it, and are we going to have to spend a lot of money? Well, I want to just kind of quell that whole thing right now. If you guys don't know about it, and if you have a YouTube channel, which every church should have a YouTube channel, so go to your Creator Studio, and if you look down on the left-hand side, you will be able to see the YouTube Audio Library. The YouTube Audio Library is a place where creators, musicians, have uploaded tons of music and have made it available to users for their videos with various usage rights. The two main usage rights are: you're free to use this in your video, or please put down this appropriate attribution. Okay? So the ones that need attribution, they basically want you to copy some of the text that's in there that links to the guy's channel and maybe his website, and drop it in the description. That's it. There's a whole bunch of stuff out there. They just uploaded a ton more. In fact, if you go looking through it, you will see tons of things that are marked new, across all genres. There's cinematic, there's folk, there's bright and happy, there's country, there's rock, there's old rock, there's metal, there's dubstep. I mean, there's just a ton of stuff in there. And what's cool is you can download these things. You can actually go through and preview every single one that you want. You can mark them, add them to your favorites, and then you can download what you want, toss it into the appropriate video, and then when you're done, upload it up to YouTube. Anyway, I'll actually walk you through that process in a short video that accompanies this episode. So, YouTube Audio Library. There's a few others that I'm going to show you in the pro tip that we publish with this for YouTube, or for our YouTube channel. I'm starting to blah, 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 blah. Anyway, it's really cool. It's free. It's awesome. You guys totally need to check it out. Guys, by the way, if you guys don't know about it, Justin and I have put together a nice little Facebook group for everybody. It's a private Facebook group, and all you have to do basically is ask to be a part of our little group there. It's called Church Media Hacks, and it is a place where all of us, the media folks at the church, the pastors, the secretary who's been tasked with doing media stuff, podcasting, whatever, any kind of creative in the church space, we have a little place that we can come together and share all these tips and tricks and things that we do. How do I do this? How do I make mine look like this? Hey, what font are they using? I mean, all kinds of stuff. So we've created this place. We want you guys to come and join us. Justin, you want to tell them how they can do that?
Yes, they can go to churchmediahacks.com, and they can just request an invite, and pretty much as long as you don't look like a spam bot, you're going to get in, right? Especially if you have like affiliations with other church media groups or other church communications groups. I'm just going to let you in as long as you don't have a weird like bikini picture, profile picture like that a lot of the spam bots have, we'll let you in. Okay. So it is invite, but pretty much everyone gets in. So go to churchmediahacks.com. That forwards to the Facebook group. And once you're in there, introduce yourself, share a hack that you've found, hey, I found this, to easily find YouTube music or something like that, just like what we talked about. And we'll see you in there. We'll see you inside that group. This is not paid. This is for everyone that's in the church media space. churchmediahacks.com. And now, Dave, let's get into it. Our main topic today, our feature presentation.
And now for our feature presentation.
Guys, if y'all don't know yet, podcasting is here to stay. Podcasting is a part of the way that we are consuming our audio and our content, things that we are ingesting, entertainment, information, and all that. Big chunk of it is coming through podcasting. In fact, I was listening to one of my friends' podcasts, and he said our smartphones. He said the question is not are people going to be using smartphones? The question is people have smartphones. How are they going to be using them? What are they going to be consuming on them? So the smartphone is already a part of your life. So is the tablet. So is the computer. The question is, what are you going to be listening to or consuming on there? And the question for us as creators, and whether you know it or not, you are a creator. I've talked about this a million times, that our churches are media organizations. We are media companies. And if you don't understand that, if you haven't really grasped that concept, you do a live event every week. You need to be giving that information out to the people that are looking for that information in the way that they want to consume that information. And one of the ways to do that is podcasting. Now, I have been teaching everybody podcast your sermons. That is just one way that you can use the podcasting tool, that you can use the medium of podcasting to build relationships and to reach the people that you're trying to reach, both inside your church and outside your church. One of the things that's really important to understand about podcasting is that it is an intimate medium. When you're walking around using your earbuds, you are listening to music, you are listening to an audiobook, you're listening to a podcast. It is you and the person on the other end, the person on the microphone. That is a very intimate space. You are letting that person speak to you and direct you, guide you, influence you, inspire you, whatever. It is a one-to-one relationship, even though that person may have an audience of 10,000. Okay? So keep that in mind. How can we use podcasting as a church, as a ministry, to reach more people, to share the gospel, to help people's lives change, to provide meaning and value in their life as they go throughout their week? One of the ways, doing the entire service. Okay, set that aside. Something else to try, we've got like 5 things that we think are really cool ideas that I'm going to be trying some of these at our church. I've seen other churches do stuff like this. I would love to see you guys do something. One of the things is to set up a little podcast where your pastor or maybe some of your pastoral staff, if you have, you got a senior pastor, a lead pastor, you got the guy that does the win. These people that are preaching and teaching, where they are answering culturally significant topical questions. Okay. I was thinking earlier this week about how to increase views on the YouTube channel for a church. People that are looking for Bill and Ted's Excellent Church Service and they find it on YouTube, that's one way. So you may get 10 views. You may get 20 views. I don't know. The people that go to that church, they may find it that way. But how could you make that YouTube channel more relevant to the people? And that is to figure out what people are searching for. Now, if you take that idea and apply it to podcasting, the things that people are asking questions about, the things that are topical, the things that you see in your Facebook stream, the moral questions, the societal questions, the questions that happen in an argument, maybe when you're talking with somebody about, I don't know, gay marriage or something like that. And someone says, why does God hate gay people? All you Christians hate gay people. Why does God hate gay people? At some point, that person is asking that question, and other people may be asking that question as well. So that's a question that you can answer. Does God hate gay people? And then you go through the scripture showing, no, God doesn't hate gay people. You see what I'm saying? That provides a resource that you can put on YouTube, and then you could also put into a podcast so that there are the Life Questions and Answers podcast or something like that. That is an extension of your church ministry. That's one idea, and you can actually purpose it in 2 ways, audio for the podcasting and then video for your YouTube channel. Justin, do you have another idea?
Yeah, so another idea, this goes beyond your pastor, is actually to get your other staff, other ministry leaders involved. And one way is to do what we're calling the children's adventure stories. And this is where you get the children's pastor, or it could even be a children's volunteer. The dude I have in my mind is our children's director's husband. He loves to tell stories. He's got a story for everything. Every class, I was taking pictures over VBS, and every time he was in class, he was telling a story that helped to relate in real world. I mean, he tells stories about birds, about cars, and it would relate a real world experience that these kids have to something that they're learning in the Bible. And that's one thing that you can easily podcast. And I'm telling you, I would love that. And I think other parents would love that too, is just sit down, get a mic in front of you, get your phone even if you have to, just to start out, and just tell Bible stories. You can tell Bible stories. You can tell moral tales of, finding money on the road or being nice to other people, the golden rule. And you just tell those stories in 5-minute chunks, 10-minute chunks. And to me, that's valuable because that's something that I can listen to with my daughter on the way to school to drop her off. And
absolutely.
Doesn't have to be completely original. Okay, take a children's Bible that you have and read the story as it's translated in there. Take a public domain tale and tell it. And then, you can, if you want, add a little, moral of the story. Something that we just haven't had since the 80s is when a TV show, wraps up at the end with a lesson. Every character learned a lesson. You can do that with these podcasts. Just tell a story of a boy and girl who are playing in the playground and someone falls and gets hurt and the girl has to make a choice, and she learns a lesson at the end. Or tell the story of the boy who cried wolf. That's public domain. And you can relate it with just a little 30-second drop at the end of just, God says lying is bad. And when you lie, it can sometimes hurt people. And so that's why we try to please God or, I'm not a theologian or anything. You can make it simple for kids and also the parents will get something out of it too. So that's just another idea real quick from the children's leader or children's pastor of just a 5-minute, really quick sermonette or story time. And you could do it once a week, 3 times a week. You can do once every day. You're in the car with James, and you can speak into the kid's life and the parent's life for 5 minutes a day. Super easy, super simple. And Dave, what do you got for your third one?
Just as an aside for that, this is actually something that if you planned it out, you could actually batch these things. You could do 20 of them a month and build up this big library if you wanted to. And our pro tip, I was talking about the YouTube music. You could download children's type of music, bright and shiny music and stuff to use as your audio bed. You could do that. And the thing is that these things that we're talking about here are things that other ministries Focus on the Family had I think it's Focus on the Family, had the whole Adventures in Odyssey animated series where they did just that. They took these basic tales and related them for children and for and biblical knowledge was biblical principles was taught through that. So this is something that has been proven to work, and this is how you guys can do it. Another idea is a devotion for the youth group, right? So depending on the size of your student ministry, depending on the ages in your student ministry, this can be done a whole bunch of different ways. The youth pastor could do a weekly devotion that maybe dovetails into the Wednesday night Bible study or the Sunday night Bible study, or expounds on something that they talked about in the Bible study. There's a whole bunch of different possibilities here, but this is something that a youth worker, the youth pastor, an intern, could be a Sunday school teacher that is just a ridiculously gifted teacher with a lot of insights could do. But again, it's just another piece of content that can be put out on a regular basis to speak into the life in that one-to-one way that a podcast does with a youth and one of their teachers. There's a lot of possibilities with this. You can do things that are specific to the 7th graders. You could do something specific to junior high, to freshmen, the ones that don't fit in, at the high school, or to seniors looking to move on and start college life or start adult life, start being grown-ups and all. There's a lot of possibilities here that could be tailored to these individual groups or the group as a whole.
Very cool. Before we go on, we got two more here, but Ramon asked a good question. We should probably just take a small 1 minute break here. What's a good way to do a podcast, and what's a good place to host a podcast? Do you mind if I take the first one and then you take the second one?
Yeah,
we'll just do
absolutely.
1 minute each. So a good way to do a podcast is you just basically need to get an audio recording. There's a couple ways you can do that, and that we teach you to do that inside of Church Training Academy. But real simply, use your computer microphone. You know, I always say, and I think Dave will agree with me, the best microphone is the one you have right by you. And if it has to start with the mic that's built into your computer, it's not ideal, but it's there. You know what I'm saying? It's, you know, just like we don't wait till we can build a multi-million dollar facility to start a church. We start churches in garages and factories and, you know, abandoned warehouses. You know, you don't have to start with a $500 mic. Use the one that you have right there. You can also use your phone. When I started podcasting several years ago, I was using my phone, and the mic wasn't that great, but the content was good. And if your content is good, people will listen. They will look past that. In fact, one of the podcasts that I listen to is called Marketing Secrets from a man named Russell Brunson. And that's exactly what he does. Every morning in the car, he records his thoughts on his phone. And it's one of the top 10 business podcasts on iTunes. That's all he does because the content is so good. So what's a good way to do a podcast? Just get in front of something you can record, your computer or your phone are my recommendations, and just record your content. Now, Dave, once you have that audio recording, how do you put it out into the world?
The best place I think to host is with Podbean. Podbean is who we're using at our church. Podbean is a fantastic podcast hosting platform. It costs about $300 a year, and that gives you the audio and video podcasting platforms. And it's cool because you basically have one place that you can put all this stuff. And I've actually got some ideas on how to basically segment off all of your different things. You've got just the sermon series, you know, and you've got the full service, and you've got the children's podcast and the youth podcast and the question and answers podcast and stuff. You can do all of that in one platform, in one account on Podbean. So if you guys go to getpodbean.com, they're one of our partners, and you guys can get signed up there, and a little bit of that commission will come back to CTA and help us out, and we really appreciate it.
And it adds no extra cost to you, which is the huge thing.
And that's the cool thing. Yeah, Podbean says, hey, if you're a podcaster, tell people about us, and we'll make sure that you get a little credit. So we do that, and we appreciate it.
All right, number 4, which is my personal favorite, and I think that we say, oh, the church used to be the cornerstone of the community. What happened? Well, the church stopped being involved in community. So one way to get back in there, to become a cornerstone of community again, at least orally, is to host a local podcast. Hanging out in Edinburgh, or Learn Dallas, or what's going on in Houston. Whatever your town is, make a local town podcast. And for mine, I would call it Discover Edinburgh. And what I would do is, as the church, I would go around and interview local business owners, local fundraisers, local charities, local teachers, local government officials, and just get an ear for what's going on around the town. And then also you have a platform to, basically announce your church events. Hey guys, we're having an Easter egg hunt. Today we're interviewing, Miss Allison, a 3rd grade teacher. She's going to talk to us about Easter activities for your kids. And hey, when Easter comes around, we'd love to have you for the Easter egg hunt. But what you're really doing, that's, if you just like, what do I get out of it? That's what you get out of it. But really it's to get involved with your community and do kind of like what we're doing here at Church Training Academy. We, every 2 weeks, we interview people in the church communications and church media space. And with that, we grow our relationships, and we grow, quite honestly, in the future, potential partnership opportunities where we can bring on someone like Seth Muse to come do a relationship course for us. And you get valuable content. He gets value. He gets to provide input. And, we build that relationship, and you can build that relationship too. Ask a business owner who's been in your community for 50 years, what does it take to be an honest businessman? What lessons are there? What encouraged you for that? And honestly, I would go even a step further and say that these people don't even have to be Christian, okay? It's a great ministry opportunity, but you're providing value for someone. So you don't have to be a Christian to have good Easter craft ideas. But your audience, your town, will appreciate that. And they're following you for the ideas, the input, the fascinating learning. And then what they get out of it is just a connection to know, hey, First Baptist Edinburgh, they're real people. They actually care. They're not crazies. They're not a bunch of crazies. That's always
Right.
my goal with church communications, is to make sure that people know that we're not crazy. We're we're not dancing around with torches, lighting people on fire and talking to snakes. Okay? I don't think anyone does that. But for some reason, a coworker thinks that. He thinks that's what Christians do. So that's my main goal. And so you build that connection. So that way when Easter comes around and they're thinking, I may need to go to church, or I may want to go to church. You know what? That one church does that podcast that's really interesting, really cool. I bet I'd fit in there. I already kind of know them. And so just get involved in the community, talk about current events, talk about topics. And then at the end of the podcast, pray for your community. Let people know that you care and you're involved. And eventually they'll see that, you're not some crazy organization. You're not some insider organization. You actually care about the community. Therefore, you care about them. Dave, what do you got for the fifth one?
Yeah, I think that's huge. We want our church to be a part of the community, and this is a great, and if you think about it, a non-threatening way. Your church can become a hub, again, both online and physically, and can be known as the connector church. The church that has its fingers and has friends everywhere and stuff. I think that's huge. That's a brilliant idea, Justin. Absolutely. The last idea for doing one is kind of dovetails right back up into the first. The first idea being where the pastor is going to answer cultural and societal questions, things that are relevant that are going on. Why did God let all the people in Sutherland Springs get massacred? Stuff like that. Taking that idea, but focusing it on the student ministry, because you've got kids in your student ministry that run the gamut. Okay, you've got kids that are well-adjusted, wonderful, overachievers, fantastic. They're the perfect child, all that sort of stuff. And you've got kids that are coming from broken homes. You've got kids that, some churches have kids coming from a children's home to be a part of an orphanage or something. You've got kids that are dealing with all kinds of stuff. And if you haven't been keeping up with current events, we're losing our children. So having a person, and it can be anybody, someone who understands what these kids are going through and who has deep biblical understanding and can relate well with the children and help explain why things are going on, help explain that no, it's not you. You're not weird for thinking this. You're not weird because you don't want to play football. Whatever the issue is, that could be a really valuable tool for reaching these kids. And what's cool is some of these kids have the guts, for lack of a better term, to sit down and know that they need help or they don't understand something, and to sit down and say, hey, Pastor Justin, I don't understand why my friends – why my friends at church are really cool with me at church, but as soon as we get to school, they treat me like I have leprosy. I don't understand that. Some kids don't have the fortitude to come forward and say, I'm thinking this, I'm feeling this. But no one knows that they click subscribe because it's just them. And that intimate relationship, that one-to-one relationship that happens through a podcast can be used to directly minister to that kid. We do that more and more and more. Justin and I do that. You guys do that. There's podcasts that y'all follow that you want to listen to, that you want to understand, that you want to learn. I don't understand something, so I listen to my friend Leslie Samuel about blogging. I don't understand how to do this on a platform or something, and I don't, and I'm an expert, as it were, so I go quietly listen to his podcast and glean all this information. I don't understand something about Facebook. I listen to Heather Hyman, Sweet Tea social marketing. I go to these people and I gather my information. There's no reason why these kids can't do that, and there's no reason why your church and your church's ministry, the youth ministry, can't be the ones providing these answers. And again, this is something that can go through two streams. It can be an audio podcast. It can be an audio and a video podcast. Like, you can shoot it like I'm shooting here, or you could do an audio podcast and also shoot it and have it available on a YouTube channel and make it available to the broader world, because the kids in your church are asking the same questions that the kids down the street that don't go to church are asking. These kids are sitting down and they're typing in, how to make a bomb, or how to do this, or does suicide hurt? Will God send me to hell if I kill myself? Stuff. They're asking these questions. Go check Google. You will see these searches are in there. You guys be the ones to answer and speak into their lives.
Yeah, this is a platform that you and I are going to die on, is that the church needs to be a media company. And one of the biggest things about what we're talking about right now is, quite frankly, your pastor may say, I don't have time for something else. Take my sermon, put it out there as a podcast. I just don't have the time or availability to do something else. Well, that's fine, because everything we shared here, maybe minus the first one, because we specifically said this is for your pastor to do like a cultural Q&A for. But at least 4/5 of these, 80% of the ideas brought to you today in this show can be done by someone else, by a children's pastor, by a youth pastor, by a small group leader, by a children's volunteer, even just by a layperson who needs a platform, right? A big part of church is finding volunteers who have skills, and they just need a platform, an outlet, a medium, a place to plug in and use those talents and skills. And your church can be that. So, they can go host it on their own, or they can do it through your church and put that church branding, put that church authority, and frankly, bring people into the church instead of to their own brand. So that's what all of this is about. Now, Tommy's asked, would you agree or disagree? Make a video of someone reading a Bible story and then separate into video and audio files. Facebook for the video and Podbean for the audio. Agree or disagree, Dave?
I agree. I think that's fine. I think one of the things that you need to consider is that if you are going to be doing this for video, then you need to make it more visually appealing. Someone said extremely boring. I don't want to watch that. That's just the way it is. You have to remember that while it is easy to grab your phone and to put your thoughts down, okay, that's very easy. It is easy to hold it up and record a message or do something like that. That's great. But we also have to remember that we are competing with everything else. So we are competing with the NPR Serial podcast. We are competing with other news and information. We're competing with other Bible studies, online Bible studies. We're competing with all of this sort of stuff. So it is important. It's not crucial, but it is important to make sure that you have some production value in there. Sitting down just reading a Bible story, no. Sitting down, reading a Bible study or summarizing a Bible story in a very outgoing way, yes. Now, if you want to do it for audio, that's another thing. Be sure you add music and stuff like that.
All right. Before we go, I did pull up a keyword search. I wasn't able to pull it up directly on Google, but I used a couple of third-party keyword planners, Bing, Ubersuggest, a couple other ones. Here's what people are searching, guys. This is what people are searching. Approximately 7,300 searches a month. What does the Bible say about suicide? 7,300 searches a month. Then we have suicide in the Bible, 3,000 searches a month. Near-death experiences of hell. Does God forgive suicide? What the Bible says about suicide. Those are around 500 searches a month. What happens after suicide? 300 searches a month. These are things that people are searching for, and the content is needed to get the word out there. Okay, so that's why this is super important. And that's why, your sermon has a purpose. Your sermon, for especially my church, our sermons are for our church. It sometimes is a little difficult to go through and even look for sermon clips that would apply to a non-believer, because sometimes it just goes deep into what's for the church. And so a separate podcast for the lost can give you an outlet to do things like, hey, just share the gospel in different ways. So that's what we're all about. Now, if you want further training on podcasting, not only that, live streaming, church websites, communication, email, I want you to check out churchtrainingacademy.com/join. This is the page where you'll learn about the Church Training Academy membership experience. And here's what you get, quite honestly. First of all, you get all of that training. Dave's got podcast training in there already. We have live streaming training. You're going to watch Dave set up his live stream to record it, and then you're going to watch him edit the audio from the stream to get ready for a podcast. He's going to show you how to edit your audio, so you can just kind of watch him do it, follow along. Not only do you get the courses, it's not like you just get the courses and hey, see you later. You also get access to our private Insiders Facebook group. Now we have the Church Media Hacks group. That's for anyone and everyone who wants to join. But our CTA Insiders group is only for CTA Insiders, the membership. So if you're watching the podcasting tutorial and you have a question, maybe I don't have this button, or I'm using this software, or what should I do about this background noise? Can I get rid of this sneeze, right? That pops up in every sermon right at the critical
That's true.
It's the worst, Dave. What can I do about that? You can go into our Facebook group that you get access to as a member and ask that question. And Dave, myself, or someone else who's figured it out will answer your question and get back to you, or give you the answer of, well, at just this level, look for this button, install this update. We're there for you. And most membership organizations, church or not, that's what you get. Okay, but with Church Training Academy, we always try to go one more above for you. And we have bi-weekly or bi-monthly, every 2 weeks, whatever the phrase is. We have every 2 weeks, we have a mastermind group coaching where Dave and I will hop on a video call with you and other CTA insiders, and we're going to dive deep into your questions. The last one. One of our members had a question about getting more people outside of the church. The church, we do a lot of good things inside the church, but how do we get outside the four walls? Well, that's something that you can wait for a course to get out, eventually, or you can hop into our group coaching. And I was able to tell Tommy, look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to plan your goals. Here's how you put milestones, basically make your SMART goals. And this is how you measure it. And how, when you get to the end of the year, you can actually look back and say, hey, we did something here, so we were able to take them from, I don't know how to do this, to this is how it's going to happen, and that's just one thing that we learned in the group coaching, and it's unlike anything else. And so with what we charge right now, it's $27 a month. If you were to just get unlimited access to our courses, that would be great. That would be a fair price. If you were just to get access to our Insiders Facebook group, where you can get access to me and Dave and the others who have been there, done that, that would be a good cost too. And then if you were also to join our group coaching, that would be a steal, because an hour with me and Dave is anywhere between $300 and $500. But you get 2 hours with us a month for $27 a month. If you were to get any one of those things by itself for $27 a month, that would be a really good deal. But with Church Training Academy, if you get in right now, you lock that price in, and you're going to get all of that for just one price of $27 a month. I think it's crazy, but Dave is keeping us there because we want to grow it as fast as possible. So if you want to be a part of our growing community, go to churchtrainingacademy.com/join and sign up today, and then we'll get you inside the group. We'll get you access to the courses, and you'll get invites to the group coaching. Dave, did I cover everything? Did we nail it right there?
I think you did. I want to go a little deeper on a couple of things. When we do, when we're in the CTA Insiders group and we're answering questions, people ask questions. One of my goals is to, as much as possible, respond with a video to either explain, show, point to, go a little bit more in depth, so that the person that is asking that question can get as full an answer as possible. Now, I am not good at doing that 100% of the time, but I'm trying to get there. I can't sit across the table from everybody and explain stuff, but when you ask a question, especially in that group, I kind of get the chance to do that, because I can talk directly to you, like Neil had a question about compressors. I can talk directly and take care of Neil right there and stuff, but then also, provide that answer for other folks. And those answers and the things that we talk about in the mastermind group, all that stuff is being archived and published in the membership section as well. So now you have kind of a knowledge base that you can go to, and you can do a search for, compressors. What's a microphone? How do I use this mic? Whatever it is. And those keywords are going to start pulling up all these things. And the more we do, the bigger it's going to get. And before you know it, it's going to be like a big old huge Netflix, account for church media folks and church communications folks.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave, I don't normally do this, but I'm trying to avoid putting comments on there because I know it gets on the final one, but I'm going to put Tommy's on there. Tommy said he talked with his pastor about Church Training Academy, and his pastor said, listen to those guys. So we have Tommy's pastor's approval. We have other pastor approvals. Thank you guys so much for watching, whether you watched it live or whether you watched it on your phone, tablet, or computer. Take what you've learned today, go out, maximize your ministry, and share the gospel.